Valley Conference Game of the Week matches the Redbirds of Illinois State and the Salukis of Southern Illinois. Let's meet today's starting lineups brought to you by Bud Light. We begin with Illinois State. The visitors come in with this lineup under head coach Kevin Stallings. They'll start Rico Hill at forward with Dan Muller. Leroy Watkins is in the middle with Jeff Bauer and Smiley in the backcourt. And for Dan Muller, one of the big keys against Southern Illinois today, because Muller is a sensational defensive player, and he'll have his hands full, though. Kevin Stallings is the head coach at Illinois State.
You take a look at Muller, and I think you're going to see him on Hudson. A lot of people at home are going to be surprised about that matchup. But Muller, the best defensive player in the Bow Valley last year, he really has his hands full this afternoon.
For the Salukis, Rashad Tucker, Monte Jenkins, and Jamie Veach in the lineup up front with Troy Hudson and Shane Hawkins in the backcourt. Hudson, a superlative shooter. He had 8 threes in one game earlier against Utah State, and Rich Herron knows that he needs to have a big game from his big man in the backcourt to be successful today.
No doubt about that. And Bob, I think it's noteworthy at this point to mention both ball clubs really hurt by a couple of key injuries and that really have hurt the rotation with Southern Illinois, with Chris Wright out with the back. And really, for Illinois State, Steve Hansel really hurts, him being out with the bad foot. We might see him for a few minutes this afternoon. He's been out for several ball games with a bad foot, but both of them really causing their ball clubs and some of the key personnel to play a lot more minutes than their coaching staffs feel comfortable with.
This is the 107th meeting all time between these two great in-state rivals. SIU leads the series 55-51. In fact, they've won 3 straight against Illinois State. And we mentioned it was a blowout here last year. Southern Illinois beat Illinois State 97-75 in this building. So a little revenge. In fact, the last 3 seasons has resulted in a regular season sweep. SIU's taken 2 out of those 3. And Illinois State looking for a little revenge.
Well, to throw a little tennis analogy, I guess it's time for Illinois State to hold their serve. How about?
Yeah. Coming up is Jamie Veach to jump center for the Salukis. And he's in there against Watkins of Illinois State, and we are underway from Carbondale. The tip out of bounds and belongs to Illinois State.
Well, you got a quick glimpse at Watkins, one of the true wide bodies in the Missouri Valley Conference, and that is going to be a tough matchup for Southern Illinois inside.
Jared Petro, Paul Jansen, Steve Olson, our officials today, assigned by the Missouri Valley Conference. Here's Dan Muller at the top of the key. On the wing. Skip gets it inside to Watkins. That doesn't go. Muller tips it out of bounds, and Southern Illinois has it.
You know, I think early you're going to see Illinois State not happy offensively unless Watkins gets a touch. He's tripped down the floor. We want to get Southern Illinois in foul trouble. Not a bad look off the first offensive possession.
Tipped out. Smiley comes up with it. Smiley's going to take it all the way in and misses the lay-in. The follow no good, and a foul on Southern Illinois. Illinois State with the cat-like quickness of Jamar Smiley, making that transition there from defense to offense, and a pretty good breakaway, just didn't get the points. Jeff Bauer goes to the line. A 74% free throw shooter. He's hit 21 of his last 24 at the line. The transfer from East Carolina gives Illinois State its first point of the game.
Well, he's been red hot of late also over the last 3 ball games, averaging better than 16 per outing. Very sound fundamentally, won't hurt you, won't do anything great, he just does everything well, and you gotta love those kinds of players.
Shane Hawkins now gives it up to Tucker. Jenkins handles it. Illinois State very aggressive in its man-to-man. The bounce goes in. Here's the little jump hook that rolls off for Tucker. And it's Illinois State rebounding with Rico Hill. Now to Smiley. Hill top of the key for 3. That's good. Rico Hill hits his first 3-pointer of the season.
You know,
how about that?
Talking with Kevin Stallings, he said he's solid as a rock inside the arc. I guess I should have asked him about a few more steps back. He looked awfully good when he had the feet set.
5-0. Redbirds on top. Hawkins plays to Jenkins. Jenkins puts up the runner and missed it, and we've got a foul called, and it's going to go against Illinois State.
Boy, the Salukis are tough to match up against just for the mere fact that they have so many guys on the floor that can create their own shot. There you get a look at Monte Jenkins, who really has been coming on last year. About the last 10 games of the year, he started turning it up a notch, and then this year has been a really good, very, very good player for Rich Herring.
In and out on the free throw. Jenkins, a 61.5%er at the line this season, coming off a 17-point night here Tuesday against Evansville. Just under double figures in points at 9.5. And Jenkins puts the Salukis on the board. Now everybody can sit down, take a seat, and enjoy the ball game. Here's the pass to midcourt. They beat the press. Inside, Watkins handles, draws the immediate double team. Smiley kicks. Here's Muller loading up for three. That's no good. And a running rebound to Jenkins. On the cut, here's Hawkins to the trailing Tucker, and a foul.
Well, that really was textbook basketball coming down in a break. All three slots filled. Very unselfish basketball by Southern Illinois. Let's go look at Jenkins, gives it up to Hawkins. Hawkins, a little jump shot pass, which is a dying art, and Jenkins goes up nice and strong and draws the foul.
Rico Hill's first. The free throw for Tucker drops out.
You know, I don't know what's going on with society when I don't see so many. I hardly see any jump shot passes these days. These kids nowadays, but it's such an effective pass, you know?
Tucker's first point, and that makes it 5-2. The Salukis are trailing by 3.
A little three-quarter court pressure by the Salukis.
Hill going in, took an extra step. And the Salukis get it back.
And you know what? Pressure forces you to put the ball in hands of people in spots that you're not real comfortable with. And that was a direct correlation with the pressure that Southern Illinois applied.
Well, they have been effectively able to keep the ball out of Hudson's hands. Illinois State coming up with it. Here's Smiley. Inside, Watkins. Up and in. Watkins with his first basket. He's averaging 10.5 a game.
He's so agile for his size out there. You know, sometimes you see guys his size are like bulls in China shops. This guy has such a soft touch around the basket.
And another Southern Illinois turnover. Here come the Redbirds. Smiley penetrates. The kick out, long three, good.
Boy, oh boy, Skip, you better thank Jamar for that one. That was beautiful penetration. He had the presence of mind to draw the defense, punch it back out. That's great basketball.
And he gave it to Schaefbauer in a spot where he could shoot it immediately. Great pass. Jenkins penetrating. The dump down, reversed off the glass by Tucker, won't go. Hill outlets to Smiley, and here come the Redbirds. 9-2 after that home loss to Northern Iowa on Thursday in overtime. Hill from the line. Good. Rico Hill in good shooting rhythm. And Southern Illinois is going to take a timeout. A 20-second called by Rich Herring here. 20-second timeout with 16:27 remaining in our first half. And the visitors up to a 12-2 lead and looking very good. And I don't believe Troy Hudson has touched the basketball.
No, I'll tell you what, I love watching the kid in practice yesterday, but I bet he's got the cold sweats over there. He hasn't shot it. We're 3 minutes into the game. Illinois State, though, scoring a lot of points off transition, off mades and misses against that pressure. And Rico Hill, you better keep an eye on him when he's trailing down low. Look at this. Now, this was the penetration we're talking about. Smiley out to Schaefbauer. You notice shoulders were square, feet were set, and boy, oh boy, you look awfully good. And Rico Hill is going to make a living at that free throw line if someone doesn't come up and stick a hand in his face.
James Watts has come into the game for Southern, number 22. See the turnovers, and that's what you're talking about. Down those points off turnovers. Watts misses, and the rebound controlled in the corner by Watkins.
And one shot every time down the floor. Illinois State doing a good job on the defensive backboards.
And we've got a foul called against Illinois State. Off the ball. It's going to go against Watkins, I believe. Yes, it's his first.
You know, Kenny Mossman told me an interesting story about Watkins. You know, he looks like a big, mean, tough kid, doesn't he? Big, strong, bulky. He says he is the biggest sweetheart on the squad. I guess the guy's helping old people off planes with luggage and doing it all. I mean, just really a great kid and a great, solid student.
Now Hudson finally handles it. In on Muller. The runner is good. The conference's leading scorer takes his first shot and hits it. Good fake. Hill's runner. That hits high and drops out. Tip up and in by Hill.
Look at Rico Hill go. I mean, Kevin Stallings told me yesterday he has the best hands of any player he has ever seen, period. Not just played against, but he is so agile off the dribble and really has a great offensive state of mind.
Jenkins short. And a travel on Smiley. Illinois State's going to give it right back to Southern. We've got 15-11 remaining in the opening half. And it's Illinois State 14 and Southern Illinois 4. Of 1967, Clyde Frazier, the man on the left, leading that Southern Illinois team to its finest hour, winning the NIT championship. You know, it's kind of funny to say today doesn't make sense to the younger generation, but there was a day not too long ago, as Tucker misses, where the NIT was the tournament of choice and not the NCAA. In fact, in those days, Southern Illinois was a college division entry in NCAA basketball. They turned down a trip to that tournament to go to New York. The turn by Hill, in and out, stays out. Rebound Salukis and Troy Hudson. He averages 18 shots a game. He's taken only one this afternoon. Long three for Hawkins, no good. Rebound for James Watts. He goes up, uses glass, and is wide. Now a great look inside. What a pass. Watts puts it home. A beauty from Shane Hawkins.
And what effort on the offensive backboard here. Let's get a look at 3 cracks at it. Here you see Hawkins right here. Once again, a little jump shot pass down low. Goes up nice and strong. Draws the foul, possible three-point play. But that was their 3rd crack at it. And that's exactly what you have to do when you come out struggling offensively, is work that offensive glass. Those are some freebies up there.
Watkins comes back for Rico Hill as James Watts steps to the foul line to try to polish off a three-point play. Just 45% at the line this season. Back rims one, and the rebound comes to Hansel, who does indeed get into the game for Illinois State. A valuable 6th man, the backup at the point to Smiley. Hansel handles it. He broke a bone in his right foot against DePaul. Now getting back into the Redbird lineup.
Well, it's a big-time effort by Hansel. They did not expect to see him out here this afternoon.
Travel on Watkins.
You know, he actually, during his shoot-around today, did a little light jogging. Looked like he was in extreme pain, but told me there's really nothing more that he can hurt out there. It's just a matter of pain tolerance. So obviously, I guess a few games on the bench watching will get your pain tolerance up.
Jenkins. Watts and now to Hudson. Again matched up with Dan Muller. Hawkins plays it back to Watts. On the cut, here's Jenkins shooting and hitting. Monte's first field goal. 14-8.
Here they come with a little full court pressure here, trying to up the tempo. And I'll tell you, I'm really impressed with Southern Illinois, though, taking their time offensively.
Southern Illinois really getting it going defensively, and a foul is called. But Rich Herron, the foul is going to go against Hansel. But Rich Herron, you could see him on the sideline there, really exhorting his troops, trying to get them excited to get back in this game.
Well, they want this game to be played at a much higher tempo than what we have at this point right here, and they need to get the easy buckets off turnovers. And that has not happened, and here we have another turnover.
This is an illegal screen against James Watt. 14-8, Illinois State.
The foul was called on 22, James Watts.
You know, Southern Illinois only legitimately 7 deep going into this ball game. I'm really surprised to see them pressing as much as they have early. It's a good idea, But it's also a very, very fine line there, Bob, because once you start getting into some foul trouble, then it opens up a whole new realm of possibilities here.
Dan Muller has gone out of the game for Illinois State. Smiley is back. Scheffbauer is back, but it's going to be interesting to see who is going to guard Hawkins next time down the floor. Muller's minutes outstanding defensively against Hudson. Redbirds have carved out a 6-point lead. Cartmill holds. Now they look inside to Rico Hill. He goes to work, kicks it out. The jump shot by Cartmill doesn't go. And a rebound for Watts. He's 10th in the Valley in rebounding at 6.2 a game. And carrying the basketball is Hudson. So that time matched against both Watkins and Hill, and Hudson was going to try to take it to the rack and use his quickness.
You see him right out there. As soon as he saw Scheffbauer on him, he decided he was going to take him. Watkins doing a good job of coming out and helping, and it's going to be interesting to see how they match up once they get the ball back.
And they throw it away. Scheffbauer runs it down in the backcourt, and that's an over and back violation.
Well, Kevin Stallings, yes, last night sitting with them, talking. The one thing that has just driven him crazy this year is that the way that they have taken care of the basketball, or lack of taking care of the basketball. He says, you know, turnovers are turnovers, but what kills you are the unforced type where you're just throwing the ball around the gym, and we've seen a couple of those situations already today.
Illinois State averaging almost 20 turnovers a game in conference play. Smiley's got Hudson. The ball on the baseline, and a nice turnaround shot that time for James Watts. He's got 4, and it's a 4-point game. 6 unanswered points now for Southern Illinois. Hill. Watkins is able to control it. He puts it in, and a foul. Leroy Watkins now with 4 points and good concentration.
Let me tell you right now, once he gets position inside, forget it. Gets him out on his hip, Beach on his hip, and boy, oh boy, when that happens, you might as well just put the arms up and just hope he misses and boxes out. Watkins, though, so talented out there. Last year struggled after sitting out a year through the Prop 48. Really knocked the rust off, but this year has really taken his game to a new level.
He's got 5 points, and now Dan Muller will come back in for Illinois State. We've got a timeout on the floor in Carbondale. Redbirds by 7. Better of it in that department, hitting 6 out of 12. Southern Illinois 4 of 12, but not unusual for the Redbird opponents to shoot poorly. This is an outstanding defensive team.
And they really have taken it to a new level over the last 6 ball games, holding their opponents even lower to 35.3%, but really no surprise. You take a look at Kevin Stallings' tenure at Illinois State, 37 of the 105 games the team has played, they've held their opponents under 40%. That's incredible, Bob.
Now after the timeout, Tom, they go to a 2-1-2 zone. Loose on the baseline, and it is Watts taking it out of bounds. And Kevin Stallings making the move to go zone, and he gets a turnover out of it.
Especially after timeouts, you'll see both ball clubs make adjustments, giving Southern Illinois a different look that time and making them adjust.
Into Hill, take it away, that's a travel. 11:25 left in the first half, 17-10 Illinois State.
And Hill really exerting himself, especially over the last couple of ball games. He's led the ball club in points and rebounds, and tonight here you can see that he wants the basketball every time down the floor.
Stripped from Tucker, picked up by Watkins. Smiley in transition. They get it into Hill. He scoots it over to Watkins, and he scores.
Scheffbauer, Hill, both very unselfish. The result, Watkins with the easy deuce. Both of them had the opportunity to force a shot. They stayed patient, made the extra pass. The result was an easy bucket.
10:45 to go in the first half. Illinois State by 9.
Little 1-3-1, little 1-3-1 matchup here. Extended out on the wings. They know exactly where the scorers are. They know where Monte is at. They know where Troy's at on the floor. Got to keep an eye on Watkins. I mean, Tucker
Look
also.
at this. Hudson taking one of those bombs that he's famous for, and the shot clock goes off. I think Hudson is at a key point in the ball game. He's frustrated. The mission for Illinois State is to stop him, slow him down. He's got to let the game come to him. He can't be forcing things.
And that really was the topic of our conversation yesterday with Rich Herron. He said he's very happy with the way Troy Hudson has evolved from last season to this, but he said he still reverts back to some of those costly decisions as we just saw right there. You can't force the game. Keep working. Let it come to you.
Shea Bauer missing, and Southern Illinois has got it.
But when you get into that scoring mentality, also knowing how important you are to the ball club, that you must post some numbers for the Salukis to have a chance to win, there's a very fine line there. You must be mature on the floor and understand what a good shot is and what a bad shot is.
Jenkins. And that one rejected by Watkins. Illinois State trying to run. Smiley, it's out of bounds and belongs to Illinois State.
But early in the ball game, we saw Southern Illinois willing to crank it out, make the extra pass. Last couple of trips down the floor, as you see right here, a little too much one-on-one. That time, Jenkins deciding that, hey, I'm going to be the guy who puts the ball in the hole. Went basically 1 against 3.
Foul on the Salukis, and this one on Shane Hawkins. It will be his first.
The foul is called on number 21, Shane Hawkins.
19-10, Redbirds.
Fourth team foul on the Salukis.
They have played great basketball on the road this season. They are 5-1, road and neutral. Muller whips it, but the ball tipped out of bounds.
Take a look for everyone at home. Watch the spacing out there with the red uniforms, Illinois State. Watch how they have floor balance. Watch how everybody moves. The way you know if an offense is working well is if everyone's moving. And, of course, it doesn't take a brain surgeon, Robert, to know that that's good offense when you get good shots like that.
Yeah, when that ball's going through the hoop, that's the best offense of all. Watkins has 9. Hudson again matched up with Muller. Got around him that time, but the floater well off balance and out of bounds.
I hate to be repetitive, but 4th trip down the floor, 4th time a Saluki player has basically put his head down, put the ball on the deck, and just went one-on-one. And fortunately, with a defensive ball club like Illinois State, which we talked about is leading the Valley and has always been among the best defensive clubs through even Bob Bender's era, you're just not going to get very far.
Illinois State trying to keep it going with Muller. 3. Dan's first bucket, his 12th three-pointer of the season, and it's a 14-point lead for the Redbirds.
And make that a 10-0 run now over the last couple of minutes. Big possession here for Southern Illinois now. Rich Herron exhorting his ball club to settle down, work the offense, get as many touches as it takes out there to get the high percentage shot.
Hawkins picked up by Jenkins. Here's Hudson again.
We got to set some screens out there. Either get Hawkins or Hudson open out there. Nice shot there by Monte Jenkins, but boy, if you're going to live and die on that, I wouldn't like those odds.
Muller cut off. Shea Bauer for 3. That's in and out. Rebound controlled by Watkins. Into Hill. Rico had it blocked and a foul.
You know, you take a look at the unselfish nature, and boy, I hate to be repetitive. I've said the same thing now 3 times already, but everybody willing to make the extra pass. Shea Bauer, great dish down the hill, and big fella, when you get it down there, go up strong, draw the foul at least. And, you know, I know you love it. I love watching people play unselfishly. Give up the basketball. Very, very nice job by Illinois State.
Well, when you, as a basketball player, realize that 90% of the game is played without the ball, and you realize that cutting and screening and movement, and then you reward the people who do the hard work. That's what really makes your team sing.
Well, you know, Bob, a couple of my old buddies I played with, Xavier McDaniel and Aubrey Schroeder, are watching today, and I'll remind them, back when they played, basically the offense ended when they touched it, you know. But I guess they're just trying to figure out what's going on, huh?
Timeout on the floor here at Carbondale, and a 13-point lead for the Redbirds.
If you're sitting in row 14,
Morning workout, it's got to be dedicated. 7:55 left in the first half, 26-13. Southern Illinois trailing and with the basketball.
it's important to remember now, if you're in a Southern Illinois uniform, lots of time in this ball game. You don't get it all back right away. Come down, get the good shot. Not a bad shot there for Hudson, but great second effort.
Got it back down the lane, and he'll shoot two. That time they tried bringing Troy off a screen. He got the shot off, but he hasn't found his rhythm yet. He's just 1 for 4 from the field.
The foul is called on 42.
Take a look at it right here. Hudson comes up, squares, and that's his shot right there. He makes that shot a high percentage of the time. But there you see Monte Jenkins working the backboard, getting the second effort. And you see a couple of ball players in this game here today talking about Hudson, talking about Hawkins. Watch how they work themselves open. Scorers just don't score by just running around the floor. You have to understand how to work the screens and get yourself open.
But that missing that foul shot tells you that he's just not in the rhythm. He's a 91% free throw shooter and clanked that first one. 26-14.
But he has the potential. If he gets one or two, look out.
He can explode. Ansel back in the ball game for Illinois State. Now to Watkins, out front to Muller. Cartmill. Shot clock at 12.
Sustained defensive intensity here. You got 10 seconds on the shot clock. Now you box.
And Muller nails a three. That's his second three-pointer of the ball game.
And as a player, nothing kills you more than to dig down deep and play defense for 30 seconds and have him knock down a three from your coffin corner.
Dan Muller, when Illinois State won here 2 years ago, he scored 14 in that game. Back out. Here's Hudson for three. Another Saluki offensive rebound. It's James Jackson, the sophomore from St. Louis. In and out for Hawkins. That was halfway in the pipe and came out. Now Cartmill ahead to Gibbons. Touch back to the corner. Controlling there is Hansel.
Now watch how they get into their secondary break. They'll work it around the horn. If nothing's there, get right back in the offense.
Hansel nails a three.
Three-point basket by 11.
Boy, Illinois State has been sharp. 32-14.
Now you have to give Illinois State some credit also for the way Hudson has played, because every time he shoots the ball, you see a hand in his
No
face.
question.
Contesting everything. Nothing is easy out there for him or Hawkins.
The thing I think that's been most impressive, Tom, is they have just kept the ball out of his hands.
Absolutely. And that's the easiest way to keep someone from scoring. Don't allow him to get it.
The foul is called on 32.
Well, you figure if there's a coach in this league that can put a defensive game plan together to take somebody out of the action, it's going to be Kevin Stallman.
Watch the patience. Secondary break, working around the horn, but Southern Illinois not contesting the passing lanes at all. Hawkins right there. Stop it right there. Never got close. And I'll tell you, if you allow Illinois State to execute that easy out there, it's going to be a long afternoon.
James Watts to shoot 1-1. He's 0 for 1 at the line today. Out of Carver High School in Memphis. One of the great cities in this country for great high school basketball, Memphis.
I was telling Rich yesterday during practice, when you watch them practice, he's really got some young talent on this ball team. It's just a matter of time before they gel and understand what he wants out of them. And they're going to go through some growing pains. But boy, you look at that early season schedule the Salukis have played, and it is a credit to Rich Aaron and the staff where they're at right now at 8-5.
Watts goes 1 for 2. Beach is the only senior in that top 7 rotation. A steal by Hudson, and he finger rolls it in. Troy with 5. The Salukis are down 32-17. And he nearly had another one from Smiley. Hill faking. Smiley up top. Jay Bauer back to Gibbons. Shot clock at 15 as Smiley operates, the junior from New York. Top of the key. Here's Gibbons out of his range, but now Smiley has it up top for 3, and he misses it. And jumping up to get it is Hawkins. Shane surveys as he comes over the timeline, pounds it inside. Up and off the glass for 2 for James Watts.
Boy, great court awareness by Hawkins, coming down with his head up. Good look ahead, and boy, Southern Illinois trying to put together a little bit of a run here before halftime. 5
minutes to go in the half. Smiley turned the corner on Hudson, knocked down inside, and the Salukis are running 3-on-2 to the bucket. The lane doesn't go for Hawkins, and a foul on Jay Bauer.
That was fantastic recognition. And when we take a look at it, I'll explain what I'm talking about. First of all, here comes Smiley down low. Goes up with the shot. Might have got hit a little bit there. Nah, yeah, he got hit. But here we go. Here it comes with the fast break coming down the other end. Right now, Monte Jenkins is trying to fill all three spots. He sees that's not going to happen. Gets over, gives it up to Hawkins, and he does a great job of drawing a foul.
He also does a great job at the free throw line. The junior for Pigneyville is a perfect 16 of 16 at the line this season. Always get nervous when I relate stats like that. I think I'm going to jinx them.
Well, how about Hawkins and Hudson together? Combined 55 for 59 going into this afternoon's ball game. That's incredible.
2 for Shane, 32-21. Smiley in the middle to Muller.
That's how you beat that pressure. You get someone flashing in the middle.
Oh, beautiful ball movement. Gibbons gets the lay-in. Boy, that was well done. A mark of an extremely well-coached ball club.
Textbook basketball, my friend.
The stop and pop for Beach. Oh, and look at Hudson! Come out of nowhere to tip it in. Southern Illinois trying to scratch back in this game. Down 11. An interception by Hawkins. The Salukis are running. Hawkins to Hudson. A no-look off the glass doesn't go, but we've got a foul coming up on Smiley. That looked like one of your shots from Wichita State.
We're having some fun now, aren't we? This is exactly the tempo that Southern Illinois wants. They want it hairy, they want it crazy, and they want it up and down, and guess what? We got us a ball game.
22nd timeout has been taken by Illinois State.
I want the sixth floor, and that's exactly what Troy Hudson got. Boy, he came out of nowhere showing his athleticism. Let's not forget he originally signed with Norm Stewart down in Missouri. Found himself unhappy, decided to come home to Carbondale. But what a great connection they have here in Carbondale. Not only Troy Hudson, but you're also talking about a very talented young man by the name of Rashad Tucker, we saw a little bit of earlier here today out of Carbondale Community High School. You get the feeling, though, that they are never out of a ball game. Talking about Southern Illinois. Never out of a ball game here in Carbondale.
Monte Jenkins to the line.
He's
1 of 2 at the stripe. He scored 6 today. A 1-and-1 coming for the Rock Island sophomore. He'll get the bonus.
His brother's listening in today. Of course, his brother plays basketball at Northern Iowa.
Checking back in for the Salukis, 33.
They're looking forward to hooking horns again.
James Jackson comes in for James Watts in the SIU lineup. Bonus shot for Jenkins. If successful, Monte will cut the Illinois State lead into single digits. Ansel attacking, now brings it out. And a foul coming on Beach, and it's his third.
You know what's happening here? This is why college basketball is such a great game. How things change so quickly. Now, Southern Illinois gets a couple of quick steals out there. Now you see Illinois State almost a little shy from taking it through the press and scoring. They're breaking the press, but how do you hurt a press? How do you completely annihilate a press? You take it through and you score. Illinois State has been a little shy to pull the trigger. That time was a classic example.
Rico Hill with his 9th point. This young man has had double-doubles in points and rebounds in 3 of the last 4 games. This one no good, and the rebound comes to Hudson. 35-25. Jackson spinning, shooting, and hitting. And Jackson's first field goal of the game. And Illinois State beats the pressure. They penetrate to the bucket. Hansel puts it up and in, and a foul. 2 ways to go. When you beat that first wave of pressure, you can pull back and get in your offense or attack the hoop. And that time, Illinois State chose the latter.
I'm under the impression you're absolutely crazy, though, if you have the numbers that you don't take advantage of that situation, because pulling it back out, Bob, all of a sudden you have the rush of defenders coming down the floor again. This time, Illinois State fills the lanes, and as you get a look at it right here, Steve Hansel taking up nice and strong. And boy, I tell you, he is one heck of a player, and Illinois State is so much better when he's healthy.
3:35 remaining in our first half in Carbondale. 38-27, Illinois State on top. Tom Kosich, thank you.
Front court scoring, big advantage you see for Illinois State. Southern Illinois, though, has done a good job of battling back, but the key is now they got it to 11. It's been at 11 back and forth over the last couple of minutes. It's going to go one way or the other. Southern Illinois would like to get it really close going into halftime, and Illinois State would like to spread it out a little bit. Some key possessions here before the buzzer.
Hudson with the dish, and a reverse lay-in for Jackson. Beautiful move. Cartmill looking inside, nothing there. Muller, his third three, yes. Dan Muller coming alive with 9 first-half points. That's his average. 41-29.
Boy, they're talking about how he's been struggling offensively. He's absolutely stroking it this afternoon. Throw out that 24% from behind the arc. He looks awfully good. Little zone again for the Redbirds.
Nice soft touch for Jenkins.
Boy, Jenkins is a good-looking ball player. As
Yes,
soon as
he
he understands the play under control, and every young player has that problem, but he has so much talent and ability out there, just breaking you down.
4 in a row for Muller. The junior from Lafayette, who is a terrific defensive player, showing his offensive game today. 44-31 Redbirds. His season high, folks, is 16, and he's got 12 here at the half. Loose in the lane. Smiley jumps in to tie him up, and we've got a hell ball. The arrow goes to the Saluki.
You know, Bob, how can I put this in a right light? But when someone hits 4 3-pointers from behind the line, I'm not talking about hurting them, but someone better get on them and bang them a little
I would
bit.
think you might want to consider.
Exactly. And, of course, we never advocate any type of violence here.
No.
But you know what I'm talking about. You have
Just
to get on,
because-
bang them, and be physical with them, because you can't allow a guy like that to go absolutely nuts on you like he is right now.
Are you trying to say that maybe when you played, that's the tactic you would have taken? Hudson misses, and the rebound comes to Cartmill.
Let's see how they keep an eye on him this time down the floor.
Smiley. Here's Muller. And they're right up on him pretty tightly with Jenkins. Cartmill misses. And the rebound comes to Jenkins.
Good job defensively by Jenkins, and a tremendous job of getting to the backboard.
Now Hudson has it. A 7-point first half for Troy. Conference's leading scorer at 22.3. A minute 32 remaining in our first half. Hawkins. He can't find the range from three-point range, but a foul on Illinois State. Boy, Hawkins just walking to the other end of the floor, really upset with himself that he missed that shot.
Big fella, if you just would have laid a body on him a little bit stronger on that screen, you would have allowed Hawkins a much better look. The margin for error in this game is so small, and the little things add up to who wins.
Rico Hill as he goes to the bench with 3, as Jackson misses the first of 2. Jackson, a 57% free throw shooter. This one, nothing but net. The Salukis are 8 of 14 from the free throw line. Jackson has 5. And Southern with some pressure. Minute 20 left in the half. 44-32 Redbirds.
I think that's a smart move. Let Muller bring the ball up. Give Smiley a little bit of a blow out there. Don't force him to bring it up each and every time.
Muller. Another 3. Dan Muller with a 15-point first half, all from home run distance. What a half for Dan Muller. My goodness.
This is as good as I've seen anyone shoot the 3.5 in a long time.
And they are deep threes.
And he had a hand in his face that time and just stroked it.
Hawkins, who does not have a three, plays to Jenkins. 35 seconds left in the half. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Hudson, a long way to go and a short time to get there. They got the shot off and he hits it. Shane Hawkins hits a three-pointer at the shot clock buzzer to keep Southern Illinois afloat. 15 seconds left in the half. 47-35. Boy, he just did beat the buzzer. Schaefbauer into the lane. Muller works it around to Smiley. 3 seconds. 2 and a steal. Hawkins, that's the end of the half. Southern Illinois gets a three-pointer from Shane Hawkins to cut the Illinois State margin down to 12 at halftime. Redbirds 47, Salukis 35. Off to a 10-point lead in the first 5 minutes of this game, and they're up by a dozen as we reach halftime in Carbondale, 47-35. Welcome back, everybody. Bob Rathman, Tom Kosich, happy to have you with us on this Sunday afternoon. I was very impressed, Tom, with the way that Illinois State was able to take Troy Hawkins out of the game in the first 10 minutes. It really set the tone in their defensive effort.
You know, that really was their emphasis in practice yesterday. Every time Hudson had his hands on the basketball, someone was all over him, and that wears on a player. And they also forced them to really throw up some low percentage shots in the first half. But I'll tell you, he had a couple highlight films shots here in the first half, and you got to look out because he is dangerous anytime the ball's in his hands.
And Dan Muller putting on a three-point shooting exhibition for the Redbirds with 5 three-pointers. Let's take a look at our MVC moment. Takes us back to 1993 in the Valley Tournament final between Southern and Illinois State. Illinois and the man who led them, the great Walt Frazier, who right before this NBA season began, Walt was recognized as one of the top 50 greatest players in the 50-year history of the National Basketball Association. The greatest player in the history of this school on the hardwood, and he was the force behind that NIT team some 30 years ago. Despite playing just 3 seasons at Southern Illinois University, Chris Carr certainly left his mark on the SIU record book. Here's today's MVC legend.
AT&T presents this week's Missouri Valley Conference Legend of the Game.
Chris Carr is the 12th all-time leading scorer at Southern Illinois, but is one of only 3 players to score more than 700 points in a single season. After seeing limited playing time as a freshman and a solid sophomore campaign, CC emerged as Southern's go-to guy his junior year, averaging over 22 points and 7 rebounds a game, garnering Conference Player of the Year honors. You can currently catch Carr attacking rims in the NBA as a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And speaking of Southern Illinois basketball, the great coach Jack Hartman, who was the man who was behind the bench that season in 1967 to take SIU to New York and win the NIT championship, and he and his players back here on campus today. What a great moment for those guys to I'm sure some of those haven't seen each other in 30 years, and great to bring them all back today.
The amazing thing to me is you get a look at it, a lot of these guys look like they can still strap it.
Miles apart, but the two schools have one thing in common: Kevin Stallings. Before Stallings began his coaching career 3 years ago at ISU, he spent 5 seasons on the Kansas bench, assisting Roy Williams.
Probably 90% of what we do here is from the system and that we learned and that we implemented at Kansas. Roy always used to say that a lot of the things that he did at Kansas he brought with him from North Carolina, and they worked for us for 6 years, obviously at Kansas. They're still working at Kansas, and we're doing, or at least trying to do a lot of the same things.
The system and style of play that we have here at Illinois State is representative of what they did at Kansas, but as each year passes here, Kevin has put his touches onto the Illinois State program.
Indeed, Stallings is carving his own niche at ISU, where his 71% winning percentage is 8th best in Missouri Valley history. But with Stallings' Kansas roots, how about an ISU-Kansas matchup sometime?
I used to play him a lot in golf, and but we've really not talked that seriously about playing a game against one another. Given the team that he has right now, it's probably in our best interest to go ahead and let them just play their Big 8 or Big 12 schedule.
Kevin Stallings, branching out from his Kansas roots at Illinois State. Chris Curtis reporting for the Missouri Valley Network.
Carbondale with the home team trailing by a dozen, 47-35. The stats from our first half brought to you by TWA, the official airlines of the Missouri Valley Conference. And the Redbirds getting it done both inside and outside. The three-point shot has been a weapon normally reserved for the Salukis, but today Dan Muller's hit 5 and Illinois State's hit 8.
And they looked awfully good. Illinois State, as we talked about in the open, very patient, looking for the break, but willing to execute their offense. The numbers prove that out. And you see a little bit with the Salukis right there, 2 from 8 from behind the arc and just 40% from the field. A little bit of desperation.
Yeah, Southern Illinois has been able to stay in this game, if Mount 12 is staying in it, on the strength of 9 offensive rebounds.
You know, and I take a look at that, and that's key, but there is a number that we're not even shown that I think is even bigger. Illinois State, 16 field goals in the first half. Guess how many assists? 14.
Wow,
I mean, that absolutely proves out the point that you're willing to take and make the extra pass.
We also saw Dan Muller put on a three-point shooting exhibition in that first half. He had 5 of them. The league record so far this season is 8. And that, of course, belongs to Troy Hudson of Southern Illinois. I would think that Rich Herron has got to make some adjustments in that regard, too.
But what you have to do basically is just make it a priority that whoever is guarding Dan Muller, you do not help, period. If someone's driving down the lane, you do not sag off Muller. He's red hot. I think that's the adjustment you're going to see out of the Southern Illinois locker room here when they come out for the second half.
Okay. When we have 47-35, Illinois State with the lead. They have outscored Southern Illinois by 6 from three-point range, and that's one of the big reasons they have this nice lead here at halftime. They got three-point shots from 4 different players, including Steve Hansel.
And another reason is great ball movement there. Hansel with the three-pointer. Look at the spacing, look at the unselfishness, and watch the ball movement. Great spacing right there. Pounded up high, and who do you get right there? Well, you get Muller with one of his 5 three-pointers. On the opposite end, Hudson has had trouble here in the first half. 3 for 9 from the field. Every time he touches the basketball, someone's on him. This time, though, he makes a tremendous decision with the little dump down pass down low to James Jackson, who finishes. And quite frankly, you take a look at the stats as we did already, and in the first half there, Troy Hudson just 3 for 9. He's going to get his points, but those are the numbers that Illinois State looks at, keeping them in a low field goal percentage.
Dan Muller's season high is 15. He scored 16 rather, and he scored 15 in this first half today, all courtesy of the three-point shot. His career high is 27. Adjustments, Illinois State, certainly it begins, I guess, on 2 fronts. One, they've got to figure out a way to slow down this Illinois State outside attack, cover those shooters a little bit better. And second of all, they've got to find a way to get their three-point shooters going, Hudson and Hawkins.
Yeah, they need to get them. Also, they're going to need help from Rashad Tucker. We didn't see much of him in the first half, just 8 minutes 0 for 3. Ron really thought coming into this game that he was coming. 14 points, 14 rebounds against Evansville on Wednesday night here. He just has not done much here in the first half. Look for them to try to get him more involved here in the second 20 minutes.
Redbirds with the basketball as we start our second half. Happy to have you with us this afternoon from Carbondale. Everybody up. The Saluki fans on their feet. They'll stand until the Salukis can score. Smiley. Rico Hill starts the second half with 3 personals. The bounce in over to Watkins. Now on the drive. Smiley's floater is good. Boy, as a coach, you love to see your club take that first, second half possession and score.
But more importantly, you love to see your club come out and show patience and get the high percentage shot, make or miss. And that's exactly where Illinois State came out, making the point that, hey, we're going to pick up right where we left off.
Hawkins around to Hudson.
Let's see if they can get Tucker involved. You know, Rich Herron really high on this young kid.
And a pickoff in the lane by Schaefbauer. Up ahead to Smiley. Now Watkins has it, and a whistle inside, and a foul called, and if it's on Hill, it's his fourth, and it is. Off the ball, Hill was backing in. He picks up his fourth personal with 18:56 remaining.
Let's take a look at it. It looked to me like Tucker and Hill going at it a little bit down low on the baseline, and boy, that's a costly foul for Illinois State.
Yeah, that last little push right there is what drew the whistle. Hawkins, the kick out. He gets the three and misses. Kept alive, though, by Watts. He stepped out of bounds, however, and the ball belongs to Illinois State.
That's all right, though. If you're Rich Aaron, you're not upset. A great job of penetrating by Hudson. And quite frankly, Hawkins is not going to get a better look in this ball game, just unable to knock it down. But I'll take my chances with him out there set and square and open.
Watkins. Nice turnaround, nice tip by Gibbons. It just didn't go. Out of bounds to the Redbirds. Illinois State has enjoyed road success in the conference this season. They've won at Creighton 54-45. Schaefauer up and off. And Watkins pushed off for the rebound. His second personal.
The foul called on 32.
Second, third foul now on Watkins.
Third personal foul. Second team foul on the Redbirds.
6'7" junior from Chicago. So now Hill and Watkins, two pretty big inside players for Illinois State, foul difficulty.
And with a 14-point spread, Southern Illinois doing a good job of stopping them a couple of possessions in a row. You want to put some points up on the board on your end.
The tip up and in. Nobody checked Jackson, and he went in for the nice tip.
James Jackson with a basket.
Watkins fouled by James Watts.
The foul called on 22, James Watts. His second personal foul.
So
First
to the
team
free throw
foul.
line will be Watkins.
Leroy Watkins will be at the foul line. 2 shots.
And he's got 2 free throws coming. Earlier this season, he set a Redbird Arena record with 6 blocks in one game against Evansville. Interesting, you look at his stats, he has 29 offensive rebounds, 17 defensive for Illinois State.
You know, I talked with Kevin about that yesterday. He says it has nothing to do with him boxing out. It just seems on the offensive end, once he gets position, he gets a little hungrier. Well, I said, of course, Kevin, you're going to get some points. But he has been a really, really good player for Illinois State. Already 7 double-figure games this season. Last year, all he had was 6 the entire season.
Hudson, and blocked from behind by Muller. The outlet comes to Smiley. Looking for Muller. No, he'll take it to the rack and draw the foul. What a good play by Muller. That time, the quickness of Hudson enabled him to get around Muller, but Dan still came up with a block.
Let's take a look at it right here. Great job of not causing any contact with the body. And Smiley, as soon as he sees that, he knows what to do. He turns on the jets, takes it down, and draws the foul.
Hawkins with his second. Smiley to the line. Number 1 in the Missouri Valley in assists. And the 74% free throw shooter picks up his 3rd point.
You know, he's having to play about 32, 33 minutes per game due to Hansel having to sit down with the injury. Illinois State really comfortable if they could play him 26 to 30, give him a couple of blows in each half. And his turnover stats have been a little bit higher this year, but he's playing much more, and the ball is always in his hands.
Hawkins on the cut, now loose inside, picked up by Smiley. Another Saluki turnover. Schaefauer for 3. Tipped by Muller, and was he on the back? Let's see. Yep. They'll either go against he or Gibbons. Muller picks up
The foul called on 44.
his first
Dan
personal.
Muller, his first
Well, they told me I'd love Schaefauer. You know why I love him? He always knows where he's at on the floor. That time coming down the fast break, setting up well. And as you see Muller over the back. But those are the type of fouls you don't mind as a coach. If you're going to get a foul, get it on the offensive glass.
16:50 to play in the ball game. Jackson. Now Mr. Hudson. And Muller has had him in his sights all afternoon. The 12th turnover for the Salukis.
That's really a tough angle as we'll get a look at coming on in here because, quite frankly, you really do not have the passing angle on that one right there, Bob. That is a tough catch for a big man. You're having to throw a little extra English on there, a little spin just to get it in there. I think Rich Heron would have liked him just to hang on the basketball and rotate it around.
Illinois State, picked by many as the team to beat in the Valley race this year. Smiley's three over the glass and out of bounds to the Salukis. The competition, though, in this league, Tom, as you know, is just so fantastic. There's not a game that you can look at, especially when you go on the road. You say, well, that's a win. Not in this league.
Well, the thing that also is key this year is that there's just so many good teams. There's so many good teams. We saw yesterday, Creighton going into Wichita State, Dana Altman with a big win at Levitt Arena. Everyone is beating everybody. It's going to make it a great race this year to the top.
Shane Bauer picks up his third, and we've got a timeout on the floor in Carbondale. 52-37 Redbirds. Madness.
And a great tournament now. This is going to be my 4th year going there. Love it. Well-run tournament, but most importantly, great basketball.
Hawkins still trying to find that three-point range. The only one that he hit today was that one in the corner in the first half when the shot clock was running down. Smiley looking inside, but Southern Illinois has that choked off.
It is so tough to defend this offense when everyone's moving and screening. It takes great communication, and Beach there with a tremendous hustle job.
Now Troy Hudson motoring, and that pass too tough to handle. Off Jackson's hands, out of bounds.
They are on the verge. If they could just get a run to get back into this game. Just 15 points. This one an ill-advised pass inside, a little bit high. And Illinois State's heading the other way.
Jamar Smiley matched against Hudson.
This tempo is Illinois State's tempo. If this continues at this, Illinois State's going to be successful and win this game. They execute, pound it down low to the big fella there. He does nothing but turn with the little jump hook, and boy, it's awfully soft, isn't it?
And that ball went into the post with a great degree of ease. Jenkins goes baseline, the fake, the dip, but no shot. Hudson penetrating. He gives it up. Beach lost the handle. Trying to get it back is Jackson, and it's out of bounds to Illinois State.
You know, Bob, we talked about it a little bit at halftime. We were looking for Rashad Tucker to come in and give the Salukis a little bit of a boost here in the second half, and we have not seen him here this whole second half, just playing 8 minutes in the first half. But boy, he's coming off a big ball game, and watching him in practice yesterday, he has got so much talent. He's going to be a good one here.
The turnover story. Southern Illinois really hurting itself. They bid to come back here on their home floor.
You've got to get on those passing angles now. You're down in this ball game. You've got to turn the intensity up another notch. You can't allow them just to pass it around the ring and just swing it at will, and that's basically what Illinois State is doing right now.
Smiley with a strong move. He's got 6.
For the people at home, to make it simple, you want to keep the basketball on one side of the floor. Thus, you must deny the pass that rotates it around up high. Keeping it on one side of the floor will bog down any offense. Right now, Illinois State swinging it at will.
56-37. Hudson. Hawkins. Shot clock at 7. They go back. Now Hudson behind the line. Short. Outstanding defense by Illinois State. Smiley, Gibbons can't save it. It's out of bounds.
You're exactly right. That previous possession, defensive opportunity for Illinois State. What a job of helping and recovering. We saw 3 separate times where Southern Illinois blew past somebody, but there was always a Redbeard there to help and stop the drive.
Hudson bringing it up. He has not scored in the second half and has only 7 today. Averages 22-3.
Now, he held Buford, Rodney Buford, great earlier in the season with 9 points, so he's no stranger to the tough matchup, and he actually embraces that. He's showing it again here this afternoon.
James Watts with 9.
Illinois State's really taking the crowd out of it.
What a steal by Hudson. Moves in and lays it in.
They need some steals. They need some easy buckets, and they definitely need to get this crowd back into the ball game. Illinois State running a clinic. You can hear a pin drop in here, and that's always the best sound you want to hear is no sound when you're a visiting team on the road.
Hudson bidding for another steal against Smiley. Illinois State running that clock down, too. We're 13 to shoot. Muller around the ring to Smiley. Gives it back to Muller. Dan again misses a 3-point attempt after hitting 5, and there's a travel on Watkins. So Southern Illinois is going to get it back. Trailing 56-41.
Take a look at Watkins. Let's keep it right there. Is that guy, I mean, he is cut. I was a little skeptical when I saw his weight at 265. He's got a great body. I mean, he is solid as a rock. And boy, what a great player to have clocking up the middle defensively in there.
And such an explosive leaper at that size. Hawkins now to Veach. Shane cut off. 14 to shoot. Forcing it up Jenkins. And Gibbons the rebound, but we've got a foul called. It's going to be on Veach, his 4th foul.
Boy, I like 35 Gibbons. He does a nice job in there. Nothing spectacular for Illinois State. He understands his role, plays his butt off out there, and doesn't hurt the ball club.
11:40 to play in the game. A 15-point lead for the Redbirds.
Take a look at it right there. 1, 2, 3 times Illinois State's players have helped out. And what happens? They, instead of forcing a layup, they force a perimeter jumper and get the rebound. That's great help.
Well, we talked about Rashad Tucker for Southern Illinois. He will not return in the second half, but we haven't been given a reason why. Salukis go zone. Down 15. Inside, Watkins. Catch, turn, shoot, miss. Gibbons a tip, no. Watkins a tip with a left hand. Gibbons again. Oh, my. Cardmill comes out with it. Shea Bauer nails a 3. And, boy, is that a dagger to the heart of Southern Illinois.
That is how you play basketball, my friend. You get on the offensive glass, you pound it back out, and, boy, Shea Bauer breaks the back right there.
59-41 Redbirds. Hawkins hits it. James first second half points. 10:40 to play. Shea Bauer again. Good again.
3-point basket by Skip Shea Bauer.
11 points, 3 threes for the junior from Minnesota. And Southern Illinois has to take a timeout. Boy, the Redbirds doing it at both ends. Limiting Southern Illinois, a good offensive ball club, with a stifling defense, and coming back to start raining threes.
Let's take a look at that last play here, Bob, because I'll tell you what, this is a great example of how to play the game of basketball. 2, 3 touches, 4 touches. Get up there, Gibbons. Get up there. Pound it back out. I think we see Shea Bauer. Ouch. That hurts. But that's great. That is great.
Illinois State hit 11 threes against Eastern Kentucky earlier this season, the most that they've had in one game this season. They've hit 10 today and lead at 62-43. Jenkins Missing the three, jumping in to claim it is Kyle Cartmill. Cartmill to the bucket, and he'll shoot a couple. Jenkins with the foul.
Got a little example there of Kyle Cartmill. The Illinois State staff really excited about him because they think he's very capable and he's going to get a whole heck of a lot better. Now, since Hansel's injury, he's been the first guard off the bench, getting a lot of additional playing time. Just a sophomore, he's going to get better as soon as he gets a little confidence out there.
7 for 9 at the free throw line. He's had a high point game this season of 15. That against Ohio. He had 4 threes in that game.
If I'm a player on Illinois State right now, I make sure I get a copy of that one possession with 4 touches, because every time Coach Stallings plays something that we did wrong during the game, I pop that back in there and say, hey, how about this?
That's why they don't let the players edit the tape.
You're exactly right.
The foul called on 13.
A foul called on Schaefauer. It's his 4th personal. So he and Hill with 4 each. And Watkins with 3. Smiley in. Skip goes out of the game. 10 minutes to go. 63-43. The Illinois State lead is 20.
Hawkins still looking for that second 3-pointer that would put him ahead of Kai Nerberger, the all-time 3-pointers made list here at Southern Illinois. Just 1 for 6 in the first half.
Jackson now with 9. 63-45. Muller and a travel. Foul difficulty, but when you're up by 18, it's a luxury of the big lead, but that foul trouble doesn't come into play.
Quite frankly, that's what makes this game even more impressive to this point. What Illinois State has done is because they've done it with foul trouble and really have not lost much, if anything, coming off the bench.
That one blocked inside by Watkins, and he comes up with a basketball.
Well, I'll tell you
It
what,
has been Illinois State's game.
give me Watkins. If I get the pick from the Valley, he's going to be my big guy inside. I'll tell you, that guy eats up some space, plays the game hard.
Gibbons. Short. But out of bounds. Illinois State will have it. And 16 seconds to shoot.
You do a little battle with Watkins, wouldn't you? I wouldn't mind going to war with him out on the floor.
Well, he is a very impressive young man.
Good job of helping out there that time by Hudson. Saw Muller coming off the screen.
4 seconds to shoot. Smiley throws it up. And that's going to be an offensive foul. Second on Jamar. I can't tell you, Tom, how impressed I am with Illinois State's defense today. This is Southern Illinois ball club that, particularly at home, they can really get it rocking and rolling with all the 3-point bombs. They have taken Hudson and Hawkins completely out of this game. Neither have reached double figures yet. And a Rich Herron ball club that averages 73 points a game, they'll be lucky to get 60 today.
We talked about it, though, in the first half, and about the 8-minute mark of the first half. Southern Illinois was flirting at getting right into this game, especially with 5 minutes. They had it cut, I believe, to 10. Missed out on a couple of big opportunities, and unfortunately, the way Illinois State executes, when you get down like this so late in the ballgame, makes it awfully tough to come back.
Double clutching and hitting is Shane Hawkins. But Illinois State comes right back. Muller goes up, lost it. Running it down is Cartmill. Muller, his 6th 3 of the day, no good. Coming out with it is Jenkins. Now to Hawkins.
Good
Inside.
flash.
Watts scores.
That's a nice flash there by James Watts. Coming along the baseline, getting position. He looks awfully good, awfully confident with that little turnaround.
When he plays like that, he acts like he's the Secretary of the Interior.
I was wondering how long it was going to take you before you dropped that. I didn't want to encourage you by asking you.
Here's Hill. Gibbons, that's a travel. A timeout with 7:46. And James Watts and the Salukis trying to get back in it, down 63-49. Been the defense, I think, of Illinois State. They have just taken Southern Illinois out of anything offensively. Hudson short with the 3, and Watkins another strong rebound.
I'd say that Southwest Wichita State game is going to be one heck of a battle next Saturday. Steve Alford doing a tremendous job in Springfield. They got Drake tonight as Illinois State continues to execute. And I'll tell you, Randy Smithson has just absolutely turned that Shocker program around. I mean, it's incredible, although tough loss to Creighton yesterday. They are looking awfully good.
Boy, a big sellout crowd at the Roundhouse yesterday to watch it. Here's Lance Brown. Our check it, Ryan Hammer coming in to hit the shot. That's only his second field goal all season and his first three-pointer. Rich Heron looking for some answers. Hill turns, misses, and it's out of bounds to Southern.
Continued great effort out there by Muller, though, working the offensive glass, just getting a hand on it. It's only a 13-point spread, and there is a lot of time out there. If Southern Illinois could just come down and put together a couple of good possessions here and stop Illinois State, we're going to have a heck of a ball game down the stretch.
They've got to find a way to solve this Redbird defense, and again, it's Muller coming up tight on Hudson. Troy going to work, kicks to the corner. Hawkins connects. Hawkins now with a dozen, and you're exactly right, Tom. They've cut it to 10 with 6:22 to play.
Big possession here. Big possession in this ball game. You hear the crowd trying to get back in it.
Watkins up and in. Boy, they get the ball on the block so easily.
You can't really front him. You have to make the decision of doing your best to get him off the block, because as soon as he gets position, there's no way around it. There's no two ways about it. He's going to turn and shoot in your face. That time they got caught on the side.
Hawkins to the corner. Hammer puts it up and off. Rebound. Muller snatches it out of there. Hill to Smiley. 5:33 to play. Hill. And a loose ball picked up out on the wing by Hawkins. Nothing in transition. Now Ryan Hammer gives it to Troy Hudson. This time he's got it by Smiley. Muller picks up Hawkins. And Muller with a personal.
You know, Bob, you almost wonder, looking at this 12-point spread, if Illinois State maybe let Southern hang around too long, because you feel right now if they could just get a couple of possessions, this place is going to explode. And with the three-pointer, you're 4 possessions away from being a tied ball game.
Checking back in for Illinois State, 35,
Gibbons
and 13.
and Skip Schaefer come back.
Replacing
Watkins and Hill go out.
Watkins and Hill. We'd like to remind you, please do not throw anything onto the court. It could injure players.
For Troy Hudson, or check it for Shane Hawkins.
Refrain from throwing things onto the court.
A chance here for the Salukis to make some points without the clock running.
Back in for the Salukis.
James Jackson, the St. Louis sophomore, is back. And it's James Watts to go out.
Shane Hawkins will be
Hawkins 18 for 18 at the line this season.
Really struggling this afternoon, a testament for the defensive effort of Illinois State, because in my opinion, there's very few players in this league that understand how to get open better than Hawkins. If you watch him out there, he understands when he's at his best, working himself off screens, and a real competitor, but boy, oh boy, he has struggled here this afternoon.
14 for Shane, 67-57. Monte Jenkins is back, and Hammer goes out. Hit that 3. Tried to spark the Saluki comeback. 5:10 left. 10-point game, and Southern with pressure. Muller gets it in. Smiley says, give it to me and run up the court. I'll take care of things. 5 minutes to play. Bauer looks.
Now you got to stop the reversal. You got to get out there. You got to get out there, Monte, and stop that ball reversal. See if They keep turning it over and over. They're going to get the high percentage shot.
3 on the shot clock, and Smiley puts it up and in.
Tough shot.
With just a couple of seconds left on the clock, you could see Shane Hawkins just in desperation hang his head as he watched that ball go through the net. 69-57.
Watch Hawkins moving. Gives up the basketball, comes to it, tries to rub off the screen.
Reverse for 2. Nice move.
Boy, his timing is impeccable. Also talking about how he moves without and with the basketball. Boy, a gutty effort by him this afternoon.
Again, Southern Illinois cuts it back to 10. 3:55 left. Redbirds work that clock down to 10. Smiley again. Kicks. Cartmill's 3. Good! Kyle Cartmill hits his first field goal of the day, and it's a 3-pointer to keep Southern Illinois away at arm's length. 72-59.
Couple of big possessions deep into the shot clock. They came up big.
Cartmill with the foul. And that will put Hudson at the line for a 1-on-1.
The foul called on 24.
You take a look at Troy Hudson. You talk with NBA scouts about, does he have the potential to take it to the next level? Well, yeah, he has potential, but the difference with him to getting to the next level, talking about the NBA, in my opinion, and a lot of scouts' opinion, is he has just got to be a little better with the decision-making and with passing, setting up, because if he utilizes his skills of being able to penetrate and pitch to its fullest, he'll be a much more complete package for the people upstairs.
He misses the front end of a 1-and-1. Boy, does that hurt. Southern Illinois trying to put a comeback together, down 72-59. Smiley gets around Hudson now, dribbles out. Illinois State's in no hurry. They want to drain that shot clock as long as they can. And Muller is fouled by Jenkins. That's only the 15th foul on Southern Illinois. So the Redbirds will have it inside court as James Watts comes back. Illinois State hitting a season-high 11 threes today. This one from Cartmill to push the lead to 72-59. As big a factor now as the margin.
But it hasn't been easy. Their top 2 3-point shooters, Hudson and Hawkins, a combined 2 for 12 from behind the arc. Now let's take a look out here. They got the floor spread. Now you want to keep the ball on one side of the floor. Let's see which way Smiley goes. Then you have to just fight like heck to get through screens and keep on top of your man. Let's see right here.
7 to shoot. Southern comes up with a turnover, but they give it right back. Hudson had his pocket picked, and now Illinois State will run the clock down again.
You got a lot of guys in white jerseys out there that played a lot of minutes in this ball game also. You're starting to see the fatigue factor show through defensively here.
And this one is going to be out of bounds, and it belongs to the men in white with 2:01 to play. 72-59.
You're looking at it right now, Bob. You don't want to be too quick to pull the trigger on the 3-pointer. Take the best shot available as quick as possible. You've still got a big margin, 13 points here. A lot of times ball clubs marry themselves to firing up the 3 right away. What you want to do is take it, try to get a foul out of it, but get the bucket.
Hudson didn't get it to go. Muller picks up his 3rd personal, and Troy will go to the foul line.
That's exactly what I'm talking about in that situation, because, hey, the worst thing that comes out of it, the clock is stopped and you're shooting free throws. Lots of time left in this ball game. You don't want to get yourself into just heaving it from long distance right now. You want to just put some points up on the board.
Hudson now 2 of 4 at the line today. Hits double figures with 10. Jackson re-enters for Watts. Hudson started off at Missouri, came back home to Carbondale to play for Southern Illinois. And this one is up and in. 11 for Hudson. 72-61. Pressure from the Salukis. Rico Hill now picks up his dribble. If they beat the pressure, it's Smiley on the wing. 1:40 to play.
This is a good free throw shooting team. Talking about Illinois State shooting 70% as a ball club on the season.
Loose ball in the lane. Now the Salukis have a chance, but every possession critical at the offensive end. Up top, here's Hawkins, got it, and with that he becomes SIU's all-time three-point leader and gives the Salukis some hope. Down 72-64.
Well, they got more than hope, Bob. They're right in this thing right now with 1:17 to go. They've gotten a couple of very, very, very easy turnovers from Illinois State on their defensive end, and they've come down and converted, and that's exactly what you want. Now, if you're going to talk about the two ball clubs, Kevin Stallings in his huddle right now is saying, hey, gentlemen, we're up by 8 points. All we have to do is take care of the basketball and shoot free throws. Southern Illinois, conversely, has to gamble and has to think now about possibly fouling after trying maybe for the first or second pass of stealing.
So congratulations to Shane Hawkins, passing Kai Nurnberger's all-time three-point record here in Carbondale. 1:17 left. Rico Hill to get it in, and does to Smiley. And Jamar is fouled quickly by Hawkins.
So I think that's interesting to watch, the different philosophies with different coaches. Now, a lot of coaches will let that pass go and say, we're not going to foul until next one. But, of course, Rich Heron doing the smart thing here now, only to 16 fouls. So you want to get yourself up there quick, get some fouls. Now, let's see how long they'll go before they foul here in this next possession.
Muller backs it out. Minute 3 left, and there's the foul on Hawkins. 62 seconds remaining. And Illinois State's Jamar Smiley will go to the free throw line for a 1-and-1. Smiley 2 for 2 at the line today. Leroy Watkins comes back in. And Gibbons goes out.
You're still in position, though. Basically, you're thinking two things. First of all, the most important thing is you box out here. You did not allow a tip out if there's a miss. Second of all, when you get the ball back, you just blow it down the floor, take it to the hoop. Don't force up anything. You're still a good 3 possessions away in this ball game.
And the ball belongs to Southern Illinois. Well, they got the free throw miss that they needed. The ball was volleyballed out, and the Salukis just the beneficiary of the call that time. Hard to tell which way that was going to go. And now we've got Rico Hill limping.
I think it's a no-brainer. Put the ball in Hudson's hands here and let him go and create and see if he can get it.
Hudson goes to work, penetrates, kicks it out. They find Hawkins for 3. Too long. Rebound out of bounds. The ball belongs to Illinois State.
Not a bad job, though, of penetrating and pitching that time. Hawkins with a clean look.
.6 left. 72-64. And Rich Heron making his points on the bench. And it comes to Smiley. Racehorse against Jackson. Now Cartmill. They don't get the whistle there.
Got a foul here. Got a foul here.
Now it's Hudson fouling Smiley to stop the clock with 35 seconds to go.
You have to decide two things, basically, in my opinion, Bob. That is, you're going to go for the initial steal. If you don't get it, then you're going to foul immediately. Or you give it 2 passes, then you're going to foul immediately. That time, some valuable seconds ticked off the clock there before they got the clock stopped.
Shooting 1 plus the ball.
Smiley missed the front end of a 1-on-1 just seconds ago. This time he puts it in for his 9th point. 73-64. 35 seconds left. And it's good. All 5 Illinois State starters now have reached double figures. Once again underscoring the balanced attack the Redbirds have. Hudson misses, followed by Veach. No, Veach again kicks it out. Hudson The kick now to Hawkins for 3, and that's good. Timeout, Southern. A timeout with 21.2 remaining in Carbondale, and a 7-point deficit for the Salukis. Look at the Rawlings play of the game, and this says a lot about the Illinois State effort today.
1 touch, 2 touches, 3 touches, 4 touches, 5, 6. Pound it back out. Why not shoot the 3? Things are going well. Doesn't get any better than that, Bob.
Today's play of the game, a presentation of Rawlings. 21.2 left. Our champion player of the game is Dan Muller, 15 points and 5 threes, and all the scoring coming in the second half. And you'll see a 3 here, but perhaps as big a part of the threes today from Muller is the fact that his first half defense took Troy Hudson out of the game and set the tone for Illinois State.
You took the words right out of my mouth, because sometimes you get lost when someone's so offensively potent out on the floor, but he did it on both sides of the floor. And you know, we talked about Hawkins and Hudson struggling from behind the arc. Well, how about this one? If Hudson does not hit a 3-pointer the remaining 20 seconds of this ballgame, this will be only his 2nd time in his career at SIU that he has not scored a 3-pointer. You want to take a guess when the last time it was?
Was it be the Bradley game last year?
You're looking at my notes. All right.
74-67. Here's Hawkins. Good. 74-70, but only 11 seconds left, and the foul comes against Smiley. Well, Shane Hawkins has been able to connect on 4 second-half threes to make things a little nervous for Kevin Stallings, but keep in mind that clock, only 11.8 left, and Smiley back at the line.
Well, more than a little uncomfortable for Kevin Stallings, and boy, Smiley, even if he hits both in this situation, still only a 2-possession ball game, they could still blow down.
The foul is called on.
A 3-pointer just changes the whole complexion still this ball game.
Well, you can come back quickly with that baby. Now Smiley at the line. He's got 2. Make or miss, it's going to be a 2-possession game.
Yeah.
One shot.
75-70. Good again. So Veach.
You don't want to foul.
And you don't want to waste a lot of time either. Hawkins dips in. Misses the 3. Rebound out of bounds with 3 seconds left.
Well, we said it in the open that they are never boring to watch here in Carbondale, and they're never out of a ball game here in Carbondale, and this is just another example.
And that's the ball game. Kevin Stallings and the Redbirds from Illinois State come down south and knock off the Salukis 76-70 with a solid effort here today in Carbondale. We'll be back to wrap things up from the SIU Arena right after this.